Hello everyone, I'm Mireia from Eurodesk and welcome back to the Be Europe show. As you can see, today Stefanos is not with us. He's on holidays, he's really lucky. So we are going to do the things a bit different and instead to introduce the country by yourself, like by myself, giving information about it, I will first introduce your guest so we can talk about Sweden with her, which probably she will know way better than me. So that being said, let's welcome the guest of today, Emma. Hello, Emma.
Hello, hello.
How are you? How is everything in Sweden?
It's good in Sweden. It's getting a little bit cold. We just had some snow, so really like Swedish weather, I would say.
Yeah, and a lot of winter vibes out.
Yep.
So maybe you can first introduce yourself a bit so everybody knows who you are and what you're doing, and then we'll go and we'll talk a bit about Sweden.
Okay. So, yeah, as you said before, my name is Emma Örjas, and I'm a 21-year-old girl that, yeah, as you know, at this moment lives in Sweden. I live in like a small village outside of Gothenburg, and I'm studying at the University of Gothenburg. And my program gives me a bachelor's degree in environmental science and in political science. Yeah, except that I working for an ideal organization that is called Hand in Hand, which works to fight poverty by educating women so they can start their own business and thus help themselves out of poverty. Let me see. I'm also ambassador for the European programs here in Sweden. I have a work next to my studies in a shop called the Body Shop. And last but not least, I'm active as a so-called Europeers in the Europeans network. And then I also play some tennis, go to the gym, hang out with friends and family. So yeah, and I have a cat that I love a lot.
You do a lot of things. Where did you find the time to do everything?
Uh, well, I don't know. It just works out, I think. I like to have a lot of things to do. And I mean, all of these things are funny things. So they gives me more energy than it takes from me. It's probably why.
That's really nice. Like I sometimes feel I just go to work and I finish and I'm like, I cannot do anything else. So I'm really like amazed that you managed to do so many things. That's really nice.
Well, thank you.
So I don't know if you had the chance to see or listen to other episodes of this show, but we normally start always giving information about the country that can be interesting for young people. And I think one of the most important things, or at least one of my favorite things, is food. So I will ask you if maybe you can tell us about some typical Swedish food.
Okay. Well, sorry for making you a little bit disappointed, maybe. But to be
Okay.
honest, Sweden is not famous for its food. We have a lot of other things to offer, which is a lot better than the typical Swedish food. But just the food itself is not, to be honest, like that good. The dish that we are most famous about is probably meatballs with mashed potatoes. If you never tried the like real Swedish version, you should go to IKEA because they always offer it at every store.
Okay.
Um, but the one thing that is connected to food that we actually are kind of proud of is that we offer free food to all school students all the way up until university.
Oh
Just so,
wow.
yeah, that's good.
That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that this was a thing. I did my Erasmus in Norway, so when it was before exams, yeah, I think it was the week before exams. Then we had free dinner, but it was just that week, so I didn't every day. That's great. Like I think it should be done in a lot of countries.
Mhm. Yeah, it's great. So all lunch is free to all school students. It's great.
And also, I think the cinnamon rolls are from Sweden.
Ah, yeah, they are cinnamon rolls. Yeah, they're good. We have a special day that is called like the Cinnamon Rolls Day,
Yeah.
where we make a lot of cinnamons. And we have a cafe just next to my school, actually, that is famous for making cinnamon balls like this big.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Usually just the other one, though.
Okay, yeah. So I love cinnamon rolls. I actually go to IKEA to buy the packages always. I love them. So
They-
see, it's
they're-
not that disappointing. There's always a good food in every country.
It is. That's true. That's true. But I mean, like Italy have more to brag about than we have.
But you have to be proud of what you have.
We have our cinnamon balls.
Yes. And about any festival or big celebration that you have, maybe that it's really interesting or that you will advise to see or to be there.
Mm, except for like the holidays that most European countries celebrate, such as Easter and New Year's Eve, Halloween, and Christmas Eve, we also have this big celebration called Midsummer, or in Swedish, Midsommar. Maybe you heard about it?
Okay. It rings a bell, but I don't really know, honestly.
Okay. Well, we call it Midsummer because it's the longest day of the year. And during this day, we spend time with family and friends, eat a lot of strawberries with cream. Um, and maybe the thing that we're most famous about is that we're doing a special dance around a sort of, you can call it like a sort of homemade tree,
Okay.
that kind of way. And then we dance around it. And the dance involves us, for example, looking like frogs, and then pigs, and then we do like a dance to it and have a special song to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. It sounds interesting.
it is. I mean, you should search for it.
Mhm.
It's maybe quite funny, but it's a tradition, so it's important for us. We're like,
Okay.
I can show you like a little bit maybe. So you're like singing and dancing. Små grodorna är lustig. Okay, and so on.
Ah, okay. That's nice. And then it's something that everybody do.
Everybody does it. Yeah.
Okay.
Old people, young people, and små grodorna that we sing, it means tiny frogs. And we have like hold our hands on the back like this
Hmm.
and then jump around and
Okay.
sing. Small pigs, small frogs.
And is this like a particular day or every year it's different day?
Well, it's always the longest day of the year when the sun is up for the most hours.
Oh, okay.
So it's somewhere in the middle of the summer.
That's nice. So yeah, I will definitely check it out because I've never heard about it. Maybe like I think when I did a bit of research about Sweden, I found something of Midsummer, but I didn't really check what was about. So I think I will try to look for some videos on YouTube so I can see the people dancing. I think it will be, yeah, I think it will be fun, and it would be nice to see it even in person. Something like that you have to experience, I would say.
Yeah, it is something you should indeed come to Sweden during the summer because, as you say, it's an experience, and people are like overall very happy during that day. So it's a great day to be in Sweden.
Nice. And do you have any interesting fact about Sweden that maybe not everybody knows?
Well, except midsummer and that we offer free food, I have noticed one thing that Sweden does that differs Sweden from the rest of the European countries, and that is that we don't wear our shoes inside, like never ever.
Okay.
So if you go to a home of a Swede, never always put your shoes up before like entering the door, uh, because we'll always just like with barefoots or just with like our socks on. Um, that's just a thing that I realized that differs Sweden from other
From other
countries.
countries. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's
yeah, in Spain it can be depending of the house, but it's not everywhere. Like in my home we don't do it, for example. So yeah, it's good to know. Like we will be polite when we go to Sweden and we will put the shoes off before going inside. And what's your favorite thing about Sweden?
uh, cinnamon rolls. No, uh, it's actually, I think I would say that it's the nature actually.
Mhm.
Um, where I live, for example, there's just some few hundred meters to a lake where I can swim during the summers. Just a few hundred meters to the forest, to the fields. And we also have a unique thing in Sweden called allemansrätten.
Okay.
And if I translate it, it would be something like rights of all humans. And it refers to the fact that everybody has the right to take advantage of the nature's resources, such as pick mushrooms or berries in all forests and swim in all lakes. So nobody can like claim that it's their mark. Like everybody can go out and take like advantage of the nature. That's
That's
nice.
nice. So you can also like sleep everywhere in the nature, camping and stuff.
Of course, there are like some restrictions and rules, like not put your like caravan wherever you want or like anything like that. But for like one day or anything, yeah, you can do that.
It's pretty free. Okay, that's really good because I'm in other countries it's really restricted. I think in Spain there's a bit of restrictions about this. So it's nice because the nature in Sweden it must be amazing. Do you have
And
any like place that is your favorite place?
well, probably it's actually my home.
Yeah.
The nature around my home, like for example, my lake, my beach. It's awesome to just 5 meters from where I live. I can just go and swim during the summers, and forest where I can pick berries and mushrooms and stuff. So just the nature like around my home is probably like my best place.
Yeah, and safe place, like you know it by heart. You have been living there forever, so that's nice. Okay, so I think we had a lot of interesting facts about Sweden, but now we want to know a bit about you and about your experience abroad. So I know that you had some experience abroad, and I wanted to know if how many experience abroad did you have and where.
Oh, okay. So my interest in traveling started already at a very young age because of my family's big interest in traveling. So every summer, the whole family, the all five of us, gathered in the car, hitched the caravan, and went on road trips for 1 to 2 months, and visited countries in Europe. And one time we went to the States.
Okay.
This was the best thing I knew. And it was, not like a 1 week in Thailand trip. It was like really like an adventure. We were out for a long time, and we went like wherever we wanted. And I mean, like we experienced so many cool things together, and I learned a lot about myself and developed skills that actually have helped me a lot later in life.
That's really, really nice. But how did you travel? Like, you travel by van to the States? Well, with the ferry? No, I don't.
Yeah, the time that we went to the States, we took the plane to yeah to New York, and then we stayed there for 1 week or something, and then we took the plane to Philadelphia, I think, and there we rent a car,
Okay.
and then we drove around like to California and so on, Las Vegas.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. It was cool.
What was your favorite place?
In the States, I think it was California. Yeah.
Okay. And you also did IESC, like you participated in a program with the European Solidarity course. And
Mhm.
if I'm not wrong, it was in France.
That's correct.
And why did you decide to go to France, for example, and why this project in particular?
Well, for me, the most important thing was not about the country where the project was. It was about the content of the project. So yeah, it was like I wanted a project that felt like good for me, and where I felt that I actually could like help people, and something that I was like interested in.
And what were you doing in the project?
Um, my project was about teaching English through tennis in a very exposed area outside of Paris called the Saint-Denis. And the area is struggling with criminality and poverty. and therefore the kids living there don't really get the same opportunities that the rest of the kids living in Paris.
And were you scared before going abroad or going to this project? And did you had any difficulties in the process?
I don't think I was that scared because, as I told you before, I've going abroad a lot of times before. But as the trip got closer, I got more nervous because I realized that it's actually, like happening, and that I'm going to a place where I don't know the language because I don't speak French. I don't know a single person there. I was only 19 years old and I didn't know what really to do or where to live. So when it was like getting closer, I got nervous.
Was your first time living abroad alone, I guess, too?
It was.
Yeah, I think this is the scariest moment. When I left first time, it was the same for me. I remember that at the beginning you are really excited, or at least it was my case, that it's like, oh, I'm leaving and I will live in another country and I will meet a lot of people from around. So you're really excited. But then when the days are closer and closer, you're like, am I doing the best decision? I don't really know anybody there. Maybe I will feel alone. And what if I don't like it? And sometimes you feel alone and sometimes you cry and sometimes you're like, I want to go back home. But then other times you just meet amazing people and you have experience that you would maybe never had if you don't do this. So yeah, I think it's a big decision, a big step, but really worth it. Do you
Mhm.
agree?
Yeah, I do agree with everything you said.
And what was your daily routine in the project in France in general?
So I usually started first at the forenoon, and the tennis club provided me with a bike. So I always took the bike to both to the tennis club and to the center of Paris. So then I had tennis lessons. After going to the tennis club by bike, I had tennis lessons for school classes coming to the club, and afterwards tennis lessons for the members of the clubs. And this is actually a difference from Sweden because school classes in Sweden always had their PE lessons at school, but in Scandinavia, the school classes often went to different sports club to have the lessons there instead. So that's a difference that I realized from Sweden. After the working day, which usually was finished around somewhere in the afternoon, I either stayed at the tennis club to play some tennis myself, or to Paris to spend time with friends living there. I actually had a lot of friends who went to the university in Paris, and the university often organized funny activities that I also could participate in. Um, but I was also a part of different groups on Facebook and WhatsApp with other young people living in Paris. Maybe some were students, maybe some were au pairs, living in Paris, working in Paris, or maybe volunteering as myself. And they also used to organize parties, picnics, hiking, or days when we visited like the tourist attractions of Paris. So I would say like the problem was never if there were like anything to do, more if the problem was more about to choose which of like all the activities that actually sounded funniest. So it was a very living life of Paris, and it was great.
Okay, and now that you were commenting and talking about these Facebook groups, it came out to my mind that maybe something that people that haven't lived abroad think sometimes is how do you make friends? Because you go there and you don't know anybody. So how do you make friends? How did you make friends?
Like this Facebook group is perfect for that. So usually it's very easy just to search for young people living in Paris, for example, which was my case. And then it comes up like different groups with young people living in Paris, and you can just join them and they will accept. And then you're just a part of it and you meet all these people. And when you started to meet some people, you get into a group, you more people. and so on. So that's a big advice that I have for you. Just go to Facebook, search for a group in the city where you live in, and just hang out with cool people there. It always works fine. It's awesome.
Okay, and I also would say that maybe at the beginning you think, oh, I don't know these people, how I will find. I think one of my best worries at the beginning was like, I've never seen this person before, and we are meeting, but I don't know how this person looks like. So at the beginning, it's a bit weird. Did you have like some experience like this?
Well, yeah, like as you said, like in the beginning. But I hang out with one of the volunteers that were in the same organization as me, and he was already a part of these groups. So I went together with him. So then at least I had one friend. And when I had him, I got to meet like his friends in the group. So it went kind of smooth. And but if you don't have like a person that you know from the beginning, I don't think you should be nervous for that either, because there's a lot of new people coming and going like every day. So you're never the only one.
Yeah, that's a good advice. And which was your first impression about everything when you arrived?
Um, well, I would say that it was maybe two different impressions actually. The positive one was that people were very friendly and very welcoming. They actually treated me like one in their family. And the fact is that I usually call the people at the tennis club for my Paris family, because we spend so much time together. And yeah, they like really treated me as a family member. The negative part, or the negative impression, was actually the area. Um, I mean, I was not shocked, because the leaders of the project has warned me for what a big difference from Sweden it would be. But yeah, it truly was a big difference from the like environment that I was used to. Um, and most of all, I missed like the nature and the forest. And my friend said like, "Oh well, that's not a problem. We have lots of parks here in Paris." Uh, but I mean, like, they have never lived in Sweden. A park in Paris is not at all like the forest in Sweden, like, not at all. When you go to a forest in Sweden, you might see a moose or a deer, but not like other people. When you go to a park in Paris, there are like hundreds of people. So that was a big difference. A
Yeah,
park in
like
Paris, forests.
sounds like two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And you said that the people on the club for you, they were like your family. And do you have any funny anecdote with them, or maybe in general from your experience?
Um, well, let me think. Well, the first thing that actually comes up in my mind is that the fact that people outside of Paris, outside of France, have this like stereotypical picture of French people loving baguettes. And one thing that I have learned while traveling around the world is that stereotypes about people come from different countries often isn't true. But rumor about French people and their baguettes, it's actually more of an understatement. French people are crazy, like almost obsessed with their baguettes. Uh,
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like it's crazy. They walk around with a baguette like under their arm, like all the time. Behind every corner, it's a so-called boulangerie. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry for the pronunciation. And to every meal, they serve baguettes. If not, the meal itself consists of only baguettes. So, but yeah, I don't complain. But baguettes are good, and no other place has such a good baguettes as France. But it's just a funny thing that they're crazy about them.
Yeah, now I was just picturing everybody in France with a baguette under the arm. It's a bit funny.
It's funny.
And what is your like your best memory about all the project and all this experience?
My best memory. I think I have two memories that qualify as my best memories. The first one was when I went to Roland Garros with the tennis club. And there I saw my idols, Serena Williams, Djokovic, and Nadal playing. So that was very cool for me, because I'm a big fan of tennis. And the other memory that I will never forget was my last working day at the tennis club. And then the tennis club surprised me with a big farewell party with lots of foods and cakes, bouncy castles, toys, funny games. And all the club members and the families were there. The leader of the tennis club held a speech, and later the kids wanted to take like pictures, get my signature. It was just so crazy. I felt like a superstar, and not with like fans, but by people that I loved.
Yeah.
And that was so much, yeah. And it was probably actually best moment of my life.
Really? Wow, that's really big words. But yeah, it's like it really sounds like a family, honestly. All this far work, they took a lot of time to do this for you. So it really showed that they really love you. So it's so cute. I really like it. And how do you learn about this project?
Well, this project I've found out about by looking at all the projects that was offered at the site of the European Solidarity Corps website. And yeah, so that's how I found out about like the project.
Okay. And now living that you lived in these two countries, did you find many difference between the young people from Sweden and the young people from France?
Um, Actually, not at all. It was more surprising to experience how similar we are. How we have the same kind of dreams, thoughts, worries, needs. Uh, Even though I come from a whole different place, with like other conditions, different environment, as well as different culture, another religion, I had just similar thoughts and values as, for example, my friends Melina, Matis, Marion, and Ines from France, or Adan and Pablo from Spain. We were all like kind of the same. It was cool to really realize that.
Yeah, being in another country with people from other places, but really thinking and having like the same way of seeing the things. I think it's really nice. And now we are going to one of the questions that is the main one of this podcast in general, that is the meaning of being European. So I want to ask you, what does it mean to be European for you?
Oof. Hmm. Good question too. um, Being a European citizens for me, I think it means being a part of something bigger, something that reaches beyond the borders of my own country, and it also includes enjoying political and social rights. Um, And one of the most important factors is the freedom that comes with the like the citizenship in the European Union. I can travel to other countries that are part of the European Union without worrying, for example, getting a visa. And this became very clear to me when I was traveling by train just this summer and was able to move like freely in all the member countries. So yeah, being a part of something bigger, enjoying social and political rights and the freedom is probably summarizing what it means for me to be a European.
Okay, and this is what it means for you to be European. But on your point of view, how do you think young people from Sweden see Europe?
Well, I think most of the young people are looking at Europe as the same way I do. Um, but I think we all take Europe and the rights that we have here a little bit for granted. Uh, I mean, we're so used to all the advantages and freedom that we almost forget about it sometimes. Um, but overall, we are very happy. I think we all have a very happy attitude towards Europe. Well, I never hear like something negative about it, to be honest.
You were also saying before about your friends, your friends from France and from Spain, that you were really impressed, or maybe you didn't expect it that much, that you shared the values that much, and you had maybe the same mentality sometimes. But also, you come from different cultures, and there's different cultures in Europe. And I want to know what is your opinion about this multiculturality of Europe.
Uh, well, it's cool, of course. I mean, like, there's nothing negative to say about it. It's we can all learn from each other if we have different cultures and backgrounds and different experiences. So just cool and makes you like see things from different perspectives. I mean, we can all learn from each other.
And you also are really interested in equality. So I wanted to know, how do you see equality in Europe?
Well, this is a hard question. Actually, I don't think that I'm qualified like enough to answer it. But I overall think that Europe has come further in terms of justice and equality than most other countries outside of Europe, but that we still have like a lot to improve.
And have you ever experienced inequality?
In Sweden, not that much, but I did indeed experience inequality while living in Sandene. I can give you like a short story. Um, I lived in an apartment in the highest floor, and from my window, I could see the Eiffel Tower and Sacré-Cœur. Um, and if I was at home in the evenings, I could spend hours just by watching the Eiffel Tower, which sparkled for 5 minutes every hour during the evening. And for me, it became kind of a symbol for the luxurious and glamorous life of Paris, the city of romance. But if I lowered my gaze and looked down, I saw like the reality for people living in Saint-Denis. I mean, there were poor people. There were drugstore just opposite my own house. Um, it was rats running at the streets, and a little now and then there used to come a woman going through garbage, looking for like useful things. And sometimes I could also hear like screams at first in the distance, but gradually it became closer. And finally, it reached my own home, and the guys selling drugs at the house opposite started screaming. And eventually, I learned that this was how the drug cartels warned each other that the police were on the way. So the distance between the romantic Paris and the reality for these people was not more than some few hundred meters. Uh, and I mean, like I could see both of them just from my windows. Even though the distance was so small, the difference was so big. Like it was totally different lives. And I mean, that is inequality.
Yeah, I think that also sometimes we idealize the places. For example, what you said, the first picture that you give us about Paris, maybe it's the one that we all have, these fancy buildings, the Eiffel Tower, a rich country. But then everywhere we have these small things. For example, here in Brussels, I can see this a lot too. And I think everywhere, maybe, yeah, some countries that it's lucky, they are more lucky and they don't have that much. But unfortunately, this is something that is happening everywhere. How do you think that we could improve?
Um, you mean during like this like area, or overall like improving Europe?
Overall, I would say.
Uh, so overall, I'm actually impressed by Europe and what we have accomplished, because I still think we're better than others, even though we have a lot of things to work on. So we should not settle down and be happy and say like we're better than others. We have still a lot to work in. Uh, And one of the biggest factors is for me the climate. I think we really have to prioritize to find an answer to the question on how we can change to live in a more sustainable lifestyle.
And how do you think we could do that?
Well, that's a hard question, but I mean, like we have to integrate the nature in our like lives and not take like everything for granted. We have to change like our lifestyle and how we see how we look at things. Try to use things more than just like throw them away after using them once. Buy things that we need instead of just buying things like all the time. Maybe take the train more than we take like the airplane. uh, I mean, like every people can do small things in their life, and then of course, politicians and companies have to take their responsibility as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe like everybody can port something. Like even if you don't can do a big change by yourself, like every small thing that you do, every small action, I would say it can help a lot. So as you said, reusing things is already a lot of improvement that throwing and buying new things and consuming more and creating more garbage, let's say. So yeah, I think small details, small actions, at least everybody can contribute in a way.
Mhm.
And now I'm going to go to a bit broad question. It's about the current situation, but it can be anything, so everybody can interpret this question as they want. I wanted to know, what do you think it needs to be done for young people in the current situation?
Oh, yeah, that's a big question. Um, well, unfortunately, mental illness is a problem that is getting bigger and bigger. Um, I think we need to do more preventive work to avoid mental illness from even like occurring. Today, we deal with the problem after it has occurred, and then it's a lot harder to deal with. I think we have to work more like progressive, because it's just getting like a bigger and bigger problem. And I mean, people are feeling bad. It shouldn't be this way.
Yeah. And also, like, share your feelings, talk as much as you can about this. Sometimes it's a bit difficult, but I think people, it's opening slowly more and more young people. Maybe social media also help to find a platform or a place where to share your feelings, and this can also help. But yeah, definitely I agree with you. It's something that it really needs to be improved in this field.
Yeah, and just like social media, as you mentioned, I think of course it can be like a good thing because you can talk with others sharing the same emotions. But in some way, sometimes it can be a problem too because you see like the perfect lives of everybody and you compare yourself to them, and then you can start to see yourself as a like a less good version because everyone else seems to have to be like so perfect. So it's more about using social media for good instead of the bad things that comes with it.
Yes, exactly. You really have to know, or yeah, like put a barrier. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe not a barrier, but yes, what you were saying, look for the good part of it. But of course, there's always a balance. So there's always good and bad. Nothing is black or white, as you said. So
Mhm.
yes, of course, it can also be bad. Okay, I think we are in our 5 last minutes, so I'm going to skip to the last two questions. I wanted to know, which are your plans for the future?
Oof, that's a big question too. So many questions. Well, first and foremost, I want to finish university. And afterwards, I probably want to take another year off from school, from university to travel. Maybe a backpacking trip in Asia or work as an au pair in the States or something like that. Uh, because I don't feel like I've done it enough after my ESC. I just got like a hunger to travel and experience more similar things like that. And then I guess I will do like a master in university. And when I finish my master, I would like to work with some kind of international questions, maybe in an ideal organization as the one that I work with today, hand in hand, or being a part of like the UN or the European Union or something like that.
Okay, yeah, you have a lot of planned perspective for the future, actually.
Well,
I'm
things never go as you planned either way, but
yeah, but it's good to have a lot of options. You seem that you have a lot of options, so that's good.
well, at least I have dreams.
Yeah, yeah, but that's how you start everything. If you don't have dreams, it's a bit difficult to start if you don't have a goal, let's say. And what is your final advice, or yeah, the advice that would you like to give to the young people watching this interview or listening to this podcast?
Uh, well, I can't emphasize enough how valuable it is to dare to step outside your comfort zone and get out there to travel. To be honest, some people today I think can be a little bit spoiled, actually, especially in Sweden, and take a lot of things for granted. I mean, I do that too, and I can be spoiled too. Well, of course, but I think when you travel and when I, for example, did my ESC, I really grew and I had to solve problems myself, because when you're a volunteer or doing a similar trip, you don't have the same comfort as you have at home. So you grow and learn a lot of things, but you also get an adventure that you wouldn't be able to go on if you stayed at home. So that's my advice.
It's a great advice. So thank you very much. I think it's a great ending to this podcast of today. So again, thank you for being part of this. And I wish you the best. Good luck with the university and with your travels and all your plans of the future. I hope you can manage and do everything. And yeah, you have a lot of things already. You are already doing a lot of things. So just enjoy.
Thank you. Same to you. Enjoy, and thank you for this interview. And I hope people found it interesting and get some advices.
Yes, thank you. And also for everybody that is watching or listening, we see you in the next episode, but it will be actually the last one. It will be about Turkey, and then we will go for Christmas. So thank you everybody for being part of this journey and to watching and listening to us. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.